what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Guys on Sports. We are back. It's week 14. Things are getting interesting, I think, for a lot of our teams, fantasy-wise especially.
The children today would say that it's getting hot. It's getting hot. It's week 14.
It is getting hot.
Shit's hot.
It's getting steamy. Not for, I mean, you're in a lot of leagues, so you're probably winning in some, but the ones I know that you're in, you're not.
It's fair to say.
Yeah, you're not doing well, but
I'm not.
On to the next week. There's always bigger and brighter things ahead. How you doing over there, Rock?
One game at a time.
You know, I was 500 in my leagues.
Yeah.
Plugging away toward the playoffs in one.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel good about that.
Yeah.
And I'm actively tanking in the other one, so I get the draft pick I want. So it's...
Well, it's still a lottery.
No, it's in my league.
Oh,
So,
different league.
yeah.
You're losing in your own league?
Yeah.
At least Phil has the decency to make fucking unbelievable trades to win his league.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do the same?
I normally make the playoffs in my league, but this year I'm not going to make it, so...
I'm not either in his league. I'm tanking to see. But, I made a great trade. The guy that I traded with was desperate to win this year. And, I mean, I don't even understand the trade he made with me.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere with it, so...
No, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys I traded for outscoring the guys he got for me, so
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. Anyway, with that being said, let's get a recap on our week, how we did in our picks. I know some of us had better weeks than others for sure. There was some movement going on. Mark should have it pulled up. I'm stalling for you. You got it? Okay.
Oh, yeah, dude. I was already ready.
Okay, there you go.
So one of us can claim that he's gone 2 weeks this season. Perfect. 4 for 4. 6 points, brother.
Definition of boom or bust, this guy.
That's this guy.
And also 3 times 0 for 4.
Actually, I went through that only twice as well.
It was definitely
3 times.
It was twice.
I think it was 4 times.
I think it was 3.
But I'll give you 3.
But listen, we don't have to go. All right,
No,
we'll take the 2.
No, you guys want to be assholes? I'm going back.
We'll take 2. We were just stating the facts. I guess if that makes us assholes, that's fine.
No, lies make you assholes. There's one in week 8.
No, go all the way back.
I am. I'm going all the way back.
You're also the one keeping track, so you can
There's
definitely.
one in week 5.
Mhm.
So that's
right.
2.
Yeah, that's 2.
Nope, that was you. That was Zach. Zach twice as well.
Yeah, we know that.
Nope, Mark only 2 times.
That's not true, and I got to look back through it.
Very true.
Okay.
I don't
All
lie.
right, so
I
anyway,
don't lie to our viewers.
So I'm glad for you this week. You did go. You got all 6 points, right?
Boom. Yep, and I still trail third place by 11 points.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
How did everybody else do?
All right, so I had 6 this week. Phil came in second with 5. Zach with 4 as he hit his dog and his lock. And Rocky, once again, sticking it in the ass with 3.
Yeah, I went 3 for 3. I feel good about that. I came close. Washington.
3 for 4.
3?
Yeah.
No, you
3
went
for 4.
You went 2 for 4.
2 for 4.
Well, but my
3 out of 6 points.
Yeah, so 3 for 3. That's 3 for 3. 3 out of 6 points is 3 for 3.
No, 3 for
No,
3 is
out of-
100%.
That's 3 for 6.
That's 3 out of 6
So
points.
I got 2 points for a lock
Yeah.
and 1 point for a regular game.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's 3.
And I lost 2 points for a lock
Yeah.
Yeah.
and 1 point for another.
Oh, you went 3
So
and
I was
3.
3
and-
and 3.
3 and
said
3.
3 for
you
3.
said 3 for 3.
I'm sorry if you guys don't understand English. I know it's a second language for you. I don't know if Jersey
I think
is
I speak it better than you, number 1. Number
Zach,
2.
Zach, we're going to run that back,
Yeah,
buddy.
you said 3, 4, 3 like twice.
Twice. And they got angry about it.
No, the Redskins couldn't kick it in. They didn't even try a long field goal.
Commanders.
Commanders, yeah. It really pissed me off because I would have went for the 61-yard field goal. Try.
Well, they should have
got
lost
Joey
the game.
Sly.
We choked the game away. I mean, well, the coaching staff lost that game.
But I was
First time
close.
I've been mad at the coaching staff all year. They
I
choked
was
that
close.
game
I
away.
was almost at a 5-1 there, but they screwed it for me. So
Look at you. So who came in last?
I came in last,
That was
but
Rocky.
you get to do a story.
And you get a
because
story,
you
too.
No,
own-
we both have to tell a story.
No,
He
we're
doesn't
doing
get
one.
out of a story.
He doesn't. He told the story last week. You
Yeah,
didn't.
You
You
follow
didn't.
the thread. This.
Yeah,
today.
we're backed
That's
up a
horse
week.
shit.
You're the horse shit
That's horse
because
shit.
you didn't tell a story last week.
Speaking of horse shit, all right, here's
Yeah.
another embarrassing shit story for you. Since we like to tell embarrassing shit stories, right?
Well, that's not all we have, I guess.
So this is going back 4 short years ago. No, 5.
4?
5 years ago.
It's pretty recent.
So yours truly, since moving to Florida, is pretty much allergic to everything that grows down here, right? And there's a lot of shit that grows down here.
I bet.
There's more trees and more plants than I've ever seen in my life, right?
that's
There's
right.
pile and plenty.
Okay.
So since coming down here, I started developing these severe allergic reactions, right?
What happens?
So I wake up in the middle of the night with intense abdominal pain.
Well, that's really bad. Oh, I remember that happened.
Oh yeah. I go into it happened at the resort one time. So it's
Yeah.
happened 5 times in total. But this
Yeah.
is the embarrassing one.
You're just a weak man.
So this is my parents. We had my parents living with us at the time. This is before they bought their first house down here.
Evolution trying to weed you out.
Yeah, apparently. And mind you, going into this, I have a motto that's try not to shit yourself so much. And
That's a motto.
it's a motto.
Okay.
Yeah, doesn't everybody live by that motto?
Is this tracking for you with the allergies and the shitting?
So anyway,
I want to wait and hear.
here we go.
Okay.
So I wake up with intense abdominal pain. I go into the bathroom, right? I proceed to have volatile diarrhea. And then I get super diaphoretic to the point where I'm sliding off of the toilet seat while I'm still shitting.
Oh my
right?
God.
Head to toe hives. And then I got to wait for this to subside, right?
Yeah.
So this is the very first encounter. So I think I'm dying. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is going on here? I have no idea what's going on,
Yeah.
right? Tara was working an overnight shift. My wife was working an overnight shift. And like I said, my parents were living at the house. So
That's right.
I wake my mom up. I'm like, Mom, you got to take me to the hospital. I don't know what's going on here. I think I'm dying. So she says, okay. So we live down our end of town, right? So the hospital's every bit of 20 minutes away if you're flying, right? And again, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, so we're able to fly down the road. So as we're getting into town, not quite. We get to Hartwood Marsh, where it's usually that Spirit Halloween store, and the intense abdominal cramps start again, right?
Yeah.
And going by my motto, try not to shit yourself that often. I go, Mom, we got to pull over.
Yeah.
She goes, what do you mean? I go, well, we got to pull over, man. It's this is Kill Brown. She's like, all right, where do you want to pull over? I said, pull over into this parking lot.
Oh no.
So we go up into the Spirit Halloween store parking lot, and I get out of the car and dead center parking lot because I can't go anywhere. And again, I'm afraid I'm gonna shit and die right here in the parking lot. So I pull trowel, right? I get them away that way. I don't mess myself. And I pop the biggest squat. And I blow ass all over this parking lot. My mom's in the car, like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
My kid dying. Why is he shitting all over this parking lot? For like 5 minutes, I'm just blowing ass. There must have been a pile. It looked probably like an elephant turd pile.
All right.
So I'm just blowing ass. Then I realized, I'm like, damn, I didn't grab any napkins.
Oh my God.
Ma, bring me the napkins.
Oh my God.
So Ma has to bring the napkins out to her son that's actively dying in the Spirit Halloween store parking lot, blowing ass.
So what were you allergic to?
I'm allergic to everything that grows down here. So we're still not sure. So they gave it some topical bullshit diagnosis like generic idiopathic systemic allergic reaction to unknown origin.
Well, that's a lot.
That's basically what they do is they try to confuse you and misdirect you with a whole lot of words that you can't pronounce
Yeah.
when they don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yep. That makes sense.
And that's that. Embarrassing.
That is embarrassing. For your mother to have to give you napkins to wipe yourself in a parking lot as a grown man is something that...
And they weren't even like heavy duty ones. They were like them Chick-fil-A like recycled paper ones, the ones that like your finger can go right through the...
But at least you had something, which
True.
is better than nothing.
But that is
Which
something
should
that
be
doesn't
Chick-fil-A's
doesn't
logo.
go away.
Logo or slogan.
You know? Like you're going to always have that with your mother, that memory.
Yeah.
No matter what. She understands probably what
Oh,
happened.
she does. She's been in that situation with me before.
Okay.
Not that
Okay.
not that exact situation, but close.
Okay. Yeah, save that. I thought you were saying that she shat all over a parking lot.
No, that'd be
something.
I probably wouldn't tell that story.
No,
on
you
there.
shouldn't tell that story.
Huh.
I mean, why not?
So anyway, that's my story.
There you go. Hey,
It's a decent story.
hey, you rallied back this week.
Yeah, it's a decent story.
You got some work to do,
Yeah.
but you're in the mix. What are the standings, by the way?
Rocco is leading at 41. You and Zach are at 40. And I am at 29. Even with the 6-point week, I'm still 11 points behind.
Okay.
So bad. But
How many
being in
weeks
the
are
playoff,
left? We're in week 14, so we got 3 weeks of the regular season.
14, 15, 16, 17,
18.
5 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we've got.
And then the playoffs are triple points.
Yeah.
No,
that's
that's not what
not
he
true.
does.
We're not-
Why are you doing that?
Because
He's just
gonna need-
desperate. Yeah,
he's gonna need
he
triple
needs
points.
to crawl out of the basement.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Who do you think has the biggest chance of falling out of it and giving you a shot to get out of last place?
I don't know, man. It's I think Zach is starting to get a little cocky towards the end of the year, both with his fantasy teams and these picks.
You guys hear that?
I did hear that.
Okay. I wonder if it came on the mic. I'm sorry.
But
I think Zach deals with some overconfidence issues.
yeah,
You think so?
But-
I think it's because he's not very confident, though.
Maybe so.
and I think that Rocky's bravado and him hanging his hat on being this pick guru might be his downfall. But
He's doing well. He's only up 1 point, so
he counteracts that with being
he's got to keep it up.
with a very he's a very pious individual. So like he's a devout, Christian.
Devout Christian man.
He's
Yes.
always going to church. So like
That's
God
right.
forgives him for being a peckerhead on the show.
No,
That makes sense.
I haven't picked as well the last couple of weeks, but I expect to kind of get back in the saddle here.
Yeah, it's tough. I think the end of the season, like this week, it was pretty tough. We'll touch on it more later, but we're not going to do TikTok take this week because Zach's not here. I just don't think.
Yeah, I didn't get the context of what he was sending. Some of it, but not all of it.
Yeah. So what we will do is move on to our first segment of the show. We have a lot to talk about this week besides football, but we'll get into it. What did we learn? All right, so the very first thing we're going to talk about this week is the MLB. We're dead in the middle of winter meetings. Obviously, Aaron Judge is still out there, but there have been a few big deals that have been signed. I don't know,
Huge.
and a lot pertaining, centering around your team, the New York Mets. And we'll talk about that and how it looks for them. But, Trey Turner signed a big deal. DeGrom went to the Rangers. Verlander went to the Mets.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's hyperbolic to say that at this point, where we're getting to with some of these contracts, especially for these older pitchers, that I feel like we're maybe approaching a place where the pendulum is going to have to swing
Has to.
back the other way at some point. And the Mets set the market for this with the deal they gave Scherzer last offseason.
They said it before that even. Do you remember the deal that they gave R.A. Dickey?
Oh, well, that was so long ago, though.
That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah,
that's
they've
like
done it
when
before,
the
yeah.
market like really shifted. They gave R.A. Dickey, who was like a 37-year-old knuckleballer at the time, this massive contract that he could just never live up to.
Well, I think obviously we could talk about how this affects the teams these guys went to, this, that, and the third. But I think the more interesting conversation is, are these pitchers worth this money? Even Verlander, a Cy Young winner last year, DeGrom, who looked like maybe not the past 2 years, well, not the second half of last year, but in the past few years, looked like one of the best pitchers in the game of all time.
Yeah.
Trey Turner getting an 11-year contract. But really, I want to focus on are these pitchers worth the money that they're getting?
So I think that's a loaded question. I think when you go out and you get DeGrom at the discount that the Rangers got him at, they're able to kind of roll the dice, right? Because you're banking on DeGrom coming.
Discount.
Well, I mean, they got him for, when you break it down, it's like 20-some million a year. The Mets just gave fucking Verlander 40-some million a year. The guy's 38.
So
by
what-
the end of his contract,
What was
he's gonna
DeGrom's contract?
DeGrom was like, what was it, 5 years, 188?
It's 4 years, 188. The fifth year is an option for more.
All right.
So I
it's
think
still
total it's like 222.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty
When
sure.
I broke it down, I thought it was like almost 30 a season.
Did you know that there was an
Or
additional
just over
salary for the fifth year for the opt-in?
Yeah.
It's a player option.
Okay.
I could have got that wrong. That was yesterday when I read that. So
But
let's say it's somewhere in the middle, though.
I think Verlander's is definitely a little bit larger. And for me, I'd rather pay that money for DeGrom, even coming off of that injury, because, he's going to rebound. The guy is,
Is he, though?
I don't know, man. The guy's unbelievable. The guy, I've never seen a pitch, and this isn't Mets bias, but I've never seen a guy's shit that was so electric and so lights out ever in me watching.
But
the
he
game.
wasn't the same when he came back last year, number one.
He wasn't.
And the last 2 years, has he started more than 12 games?
Yes.
Each season?
Yeah. Well, I think 2 years ago, I think he did. He's had a little bit of, he's had some injury history, but I'm sure that's probably a clause built into the contract. I'd still rather roll the dice with him being
For
as dominant.
5 years?
Yeah, I mean, he's what, 27 years old?
Who?
28 years old? How old is DeGrom?
Jacob DeGrom, you think is 27 years old?
Let's look this up. Jacob's young.
I'll find out.
Yeah, you look that up.
How
since
old's
we're talking.
Verlander? Verlander's like
Verlander's
39
40.
or 40.
Yeah, but it's only a 2-year contract.
Only to get, by the time the contract's up, he's going to have saggy tits, and Kate Upton's going to have,
Jacob
you know,
DeGrom is 34
shaky
years
arms.
old.
34.
34.
Okay, he's coming off 2 seasons
It
where
was
he
close.
hasn't, he was a horse last year, Verlander, and he missed 2 years with Tommy John. He got his Tommy John surgery, so that's all fixed up. He was on the shelf for 2 years. I'd
Verlander
argue,
is 39.
okay, so 39. I'd argue, well, he's 40 when the season starts. I'd argue that he's probably in better shape than DeGrom right now, number one.
Oh, no
he's
way.
coming up, yeah. Why not?
Not even close.
DeGrom missed time last year.
Don't matter.
It does matter to this conversation, and he's not a Met anymore, so you don't have to. It doesn't make sense. He hasn't pitched, gave them a full season of pitching in the last 2 years, and when he came back, he wasn't DeGrom.
And so Verlander was injured, what, 2 years ago? And
Yes.
the year before that, right? So he's back, right, to full
Well,
health.
it
So
was
we're
a Tommy
saying
John, yeah,
at 39 years old, though.
and he just had a Cy Young season.
We've seen
At 39.
this. We've seen this out of how many pitchers in history? One, Nolan Ryan, basically.
I mean, yeah,
I mean, there's been decent pitchers
Yeah.
pitching late into their careers, but
Yeah.
I mean, dominant that you're paying $40-some million a
that's
year.
fair, but you guys had to pivot off of DeGrom,
We did.
and I think I much rather roll the dice on 2 years and be done with it than 5.
Oh yeah, no, there's no way.
Because
Verlander's
listen,
in a
if you
5-year
take,
deal.
if you're the Texas Rangers, you paid all that money, even if you got a bit of a discount, that deal could look bad this year. He could start under less than 15 games this year, and you got pie in your face, and he's a year older when he comes back. You don't have any guarantee that he's going to
Yeah,
be
he's
healthy
a year
all
older, but he's still 40 years younger than what.
Yeah, but
Verlander
he
is
doesn't.
now.
Verlander doesn't. You watched him for years. How does he throw the ball? 70 times, 100 miles an hour. He's throwing 30 sliders at 93 miles per hour.
But his mechanics are unbelievable.
And he gets hurt because it's unnatural the way he throws the ball.
It's not fair to say that he gets hurt. Like he's only had this issue for the past 2 seasons. It's not like pitchers
And
that
it
go
goes
out
hand
there
in
and
hand.
it's like every single year.
But it could go hand in hand.
But
with
it's
his
trending
age.
that way.
It could trend that way.
But it is for 2 years.
at
That's
the
a
end-
trend.
Why he came back and he was healthy at the end of the season.
It wasn't the same.
His stuff wasn't as well. No, because he was coming off of injury for the 2 years, so he wasn't as dominant as he had been. The guy was still sub 3 ERA even when he wasn't dominant. When
Yeah.
he's dominant, he's sub 2.
So you think they're worth this money? Because that was the original question.
I would roll the dice on a sub 2, sub 3. when
Forget
he's not.
DeGrom. I'm just saying pitchers in general. They're all in this arena. Do you think they're worth the amount of money they're taking with the salary tax for these teams now?
I think they're worth the money. I don't think they're worth the years.
I mean, I think they're worth the money
I don't
that
think
the
they're worth the
market
money.
dictates, and I think the market is dictating it because, to me, he would have got that money somewhere else. Maybe
well,
not
that's
quite
fair.
That much.
I'm-
Yeah. So, like from the Rangers' standpoint, is if they didn't sign him, the Mets would have.
Yeah.
So, that's what the market calls for. So I don't I agree with
I
you. I
get-
think it's a risk.
I think, all right, so if you're going to give me, I don't know, Shohei Ohtani, forget the batting, just as a pitcher, to give him that kind of money, I still think, here's how I look at it. These pitchers, they're pitching the 6th inning, and you're relying on your bullpen.
Right.
So you're signing a guy to $40 million a year, not the ground, but just that's the ballpark we're playing in for some of these guys. $40 million a year to maybe give you 30 games if everything works out well, and to pitch in the 6th inning most of the time.
That's
a lot of money.
And that's
then
that's a lot of work too. I mean,
But I know, but
the
if
goal
you're,
is to get to your bullpen.
yeah, I get it, but is that pitcher worth that much money when I could take that money and go get 3 mid-tier starters and could give me 6 innings and get and put more of those resources into my bullpen?
When you
Like a everyday player that people are baffled, with a guy, Trout is making $35 million. And it's a bad argument with Trout because they don't win, but I feel like he impacts the game more than a pitcher does.
I don't know. You see, if you go out and you get a DeGrom, that if he gives you 30 games, your win percentage for 30 games is probably greater than 80%.
That's fair, but that's why I make the Shohei Ohtani argument. I can understand it more with a guy like that, not a guy coming off 2 years of injury or a guy that's 40 years old.
Like, you're not going to go out and get Mike Fiers and be happy with your replacement of being able to get DeGrom for, $15 million more a season or $20 million more a season. I think they are just as, look at the teams that go and they load up on offense and it doesn't pan out. Toronto's an awesome example of teams selling out for their lineup and kind of putting pitching to a back seat.
You also seen the Rays do it with
the Rays,
no big money people.
The Rays play Moneyball. That GM is a magician.
Most MLB uses analytics. They're just not doing as good as the Rays. But I don't know. It's just
the Rays also have an incredible farm. The Rays also have the best farm system in baseball.
How do you feel about the Trey Turner thing? He's 29, 11 years, takes him to 40, but he plays shortstop. So, how long is he going to play shortstop?
I don't know. What do you think, Rocky?
I don't know enough about that situation, but what I'm intrigued at is, I look at it, again, we're looking at going into 2023, the gap between the have and the have-nots is going to widen again.
Yeah.
Last year, the Guardians were the lowest payroll team in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They were, and it was by far, they had a payroll $66 million. Last year, the Dodgers had $270 million.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Cleveland just made a splash. They just went out and got Josh Bell.
Yeah, and I think that they're looking for at least two more, but even with those splashes, their payroll might come in maybe over $80 million this year.
It's because nobody wants to live in Cleveland. You got to face that.
Live in Cleveland.
You
It's
just
a
gotta
beautiful
face
place.
that fact.
But how long can this continue? To me, there's just way too much of a disparity. You're talking about Texas, the Mets, Atlanta probably will all be over $300 million in payroll. I think the Yankees will too.
I don't think the Yankees will.
Well, here's the deal. I'm just reading this right now, and it says the Giants offered Judd $360 million.
Yeah,
That's
the
deal
Yankees
on the
offered
table.
$340.
Yeah, and it looks like the Yankees are probably still. But you just think about the amount of money that it's insane.
Yeah, but see, I don't mind. I don't mind giving that money to Judge. His WAR this year was 11.
Right.
Right? Then that was more than Ohtani with his pitching WAR involved too. So a guy that the Yankees they maybe squeak into the playoffs without Judge. So a guy like that is gonna play a Gold Glove in a left field that you could put in center. That's gonna be the captain of the team. That's gonna probably routinely hit 45 plus home runs, 100 RBIs. I think is a lot more valuable than a guy that I'm crossing my fingers to get 20 plus starts from.
I don't know.
DeGrom
that's why baseball is a beautiful sport.
Yeah,
it's a
DeGrom
perfect
healthy.
balance.
You're hoping he gets 30 starts.
Oh, he hasn't done that in 3 years.
DeGrom healthy gets you 35 starts, and DeGrom healthy.
It's been a while.
Listen to me. If DeGrom would have had a lineup behind him
in his
dominant years, in his 35 starts, the guy is going out and winning 30 games a year.
That's fair. And I'm not saying all this to put down DeGrom. I think DeGrom is incredible.
I know.
But I think if he hasn't started 30 plus games in over 3 years,
I think pitching
he's getting older.
Yeah,
and the fact
is a place where is a position where there is more nagging injuries.
Well, for him specifically, because the reason he's so good because he throws so hard all the time.
Yeah. So an argument that would be in your corner is that pitchers do fall off a cliff. We've seen it with King Felix. When King Felix was dominant, the guy just fell off a cliff. We saw it with CeCe. Now, CeCe was a little bit older, but CeCe fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
A lot of these dominant pitchers, they hit that mark and they're gone. What I do like about DeGrom that, in my eyes, we haven't seen is we haven't seen a pitcher with his body type in the past hold up over time, right? So he's got a very different body style than we're used to seeing pitchers. And for me, I think that speaks well to his pitching style, and I think that you might still get some longevity out of him.
You could. I'm not saying you won't. It's just it's a lot. It's a lot. And especially if they don't win a championship, I mean, what is it? What is it all for? Verlander, I don't mind because he could crap out at the end of this year. You're only on the hook for one more year. You're stuck with the Grom 5 years, no trade clause. That's a lot.
We
well,
get
but
it.
I mean, don't you think that no trade clauses can always be removed?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they can. I mean, right? No trade clause really means no trade to a team I don't want to be traded to.
Well, yeah, but he has to approve it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, we get it.
it handcuffs you. So
We get it. You're a catcher. You're not a pitcher. We get it. It's all right.
I was actually a pitcher. I know you were too, but I wasn't a catcher. Yeah.
You look like a catcher.
But I don't even know what that means.
Catcher, not a pitcher.
I look like a
was
catcher?
You catch it.
No,
know
I
what that
throw
means.
it.
No, you catch it.
I throw it pretty hard too. You can find out if you want. So moving on from the MLB, we'll pivot back to the NFL. And last week I mentioned this. I forgot who was on the panel. I think Zach might have laughed at me, but that the Bengals could really start to they were starting to look like they were on the up and up. And I said, if they beat the Chiefs, we're going to start looking at them like real contenders. And
Three
guess
times
what?
in 2022.
It looks like they got their number.
Yeah.
But the Bengals are on the rise. And like I said last week, it's a little bit of deja vu. We're starting to see that run come together. And I think right now, I might argue that they should be the favorite to get to the Super Bowl from the AFC.
It'd be a solid
Your
argument.
thoughts? Your thoughts,
It'd be
Rocky?
a solid argument.
I mean, I think the AFC is a little bit in flux. I think the Chiefs still, to me, feel like one of the more talented teams, and I think the fact that the Bengals have beat them give me hope that they can't beat them again if they meet them in the playoffs.
Well, they beat them 3 times in a row.
Right, but I think it's hard to continue to beat the same team over and over again. I think Reed is a good coach. I think he's going to figure something out.
You're not flipping a coin, dude. It's a football game.
Okay.
Flipping heads 4 times is hard. Joey Burrow going out and whipping Patrick Mahomes all over the field.
I just think
Seems
that
like a foregone conclusion at this point.
I just think that, to me, I still think the Chiefs. I think the championships, or at least the AFC championship, is going to run through them.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo, I like a lot, but I think that until we know more about Josh and his arm and how, to me, what scares me
He looked
is,
good.
Dude,
did look-
those throws were
Yeah.
incredible.
He looked good, but to me, one hit on that elbow,
That's
and it
true.
could revert.
Yeah.
Lamar is out now. We know to the rest of the season, right?
No? Is it the rest of the season
Just
for sure?
for fantasy playoffs. I think he's coming back postseason.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's a.
But that could affect them. Yeah.
Could really affect. And honestly, last year it was the exact same thing. The Ravens were 8-4, and then they lost 4 games down the stretch, didn't make the playoffs. It's kind of a repeat, and now we got to ask ourselves: is Lamar and his style, his running style, is that going to work in today's NFL? Does he run too much? Does he bring himself, leave himself open for injury? So to me, I think the Bengals are a good team. I know this sounds silly. They have to beat the Browns Sunday. They haven't shown a propensity to do it the last 2 seasons. Going back,
Yeah.
they actually, the last 3 seasons, haven't done it.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, that division is still very much up in the air.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to see kind of what happens this week.
I agree with you. I do think they're going to get that done this weekend. I did pick them, a little precursor to our pick segment later. Our only pushback I would give you is, I get it. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in one season. They say like a division opponent, play them in the playoffs. But we seen them do it last year. They beat them in the regular season, late in the season, and they went to Arrowhead and beat them in the playoffs. And I think the Bengals are right now a better team than they were at this point last year.
Yes.
I think they know how to defend that Kansas City offense.
Well, I think
And-
Kansas City's weaker too. You're right. I think
And
Troy-
Hill is not there.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, it's got to be in their heads a little bit. I mean, Burrow, the only other quarterback to beat Mahomes 3 times in the league is Brady. And he's also lost 3 times to him. Burrow is a perfect 3-0. When they step on that field, if they play in the playoffs, do not trick yourself into thinking that that's not in the back of their heads. And they might try to use it as motivation, but if they get down or they're getting rallied on late in that game, they're going to remember the last 3 times it happened. And I think that's an issue. I think it's an issue for Kansas City. I think that the Bengals and the Bills are probably the 2 teams I would look at right now, and I think it does really depend on whether Josh Allen's going to be healthy. They do have to beat the Browns, but I feel like this is the perfect spot for them to get over that hump.
Yeah, I think there's a couple other teams though in the AFC you got to be a little leery of.
A little bit,
You got to remember that Miami's got a very potent offense,
yeah.
and you got to remember that the Jets are surging. The Jets have an amazing defense.
They should have won that game too.
And Mike White is throwing a ball all over the place. He's unlocked the cheat code to these wide receivers.
Yeah.
Elijah Moore is finally getting a little bit more involved. Garrett Wilson looks like a goddamn man out there. Garrett Wilson looks incredible. You know, Tyler Conklin, who would have thought that he goes to New York and has the season that he's had? You know, and they're on what? They're on their third string running back, Zonovan Knight, who's looking pretty decent.
He looks good, and if it wasn't for Braxton Berrios' drop pass in the end zone, they win that game on the road.
Which I don't get. Like, that honestly was a pretty pedestrian catch to me. Like,
It was.
You know, it really. I mean, it's not an easy catch, but there's no easy catches in the NFL.
No, but I mean,
He should have had that.
He should have had that
He
catch,
should have had
and that was the theme of the day for New York teams because Darius Slayton had a great game and then drops the big ball on the last drive to get us in field goal range, and it just feels like deja vu.
Darius Slayton isn't from Ohio State too, right? Like Berrios.
I don't know where did
Berrios
that.
is not from Ohio State.
He's
so-
not. I thought Berrios was.
Yeah, well, maybe you should check your facts before you.
I think.
I don't know where Jared. No, I think
Braxton
Slayton went to a Texas
You
school.
know who is from Ohio State? Garrett Wilson, who you just talked big about.
Yeah, Garrett
So
Wilson
he's
is
a
from
man.
Ohio State. We know that.
What do you think about the entire New York Jets team wearing Mike Wilson?
So
Or
I thought it
Mike,
was a big deal, but
White
then
shirts.
there's two parts to it. So throughout this season, a lot of them have been wearing shirts of other players. I do think it's a little different being everything that's going on, but I think the big difference is that not only did the players wear it, but the New York Jets official account tweeted out the pictures of the players wearing it. And I don't think that that's by mistake. You run a company, you have a social media side, and you know that has to go through a few layers before you post anything. And if they're posting that means they don't care how it looks
Yeah,
to Zach Wilson.
They're either trying to piss him off,
They're not
to
those-
motivate him.
I
They're
don't-
not
yeah.
at this juncture.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's pretty clear the way the players are talking about him. It's a little bit of a backhanded diss to Zach Wilson, and when your team account is tweeting it out, it means they're maybe not on board with the diss, but they don't care either way.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this: watching that game, I watched the highlight. I watched not the highlights, but the condensed game. He looked shaky early, but whatever. They're on the road. It's a good team. But that second half, man, he was making grown man throws into grown man windows, and they were making grown. I mean, that offense looked like a legitimate playoff offense, and they believe in him. And like I said, I mean, they get down there late in that game, catch that ball, you beat that team on the road. They are legit. I still will bank on Burrow right now, though. Burrow, Allen, and maybe Mahomes, depending on. I think they could still probably beat the Bills if they run into them in the playoffs.
Well, I think that they've proven before they have the Bills' number.
Yeah, but I think the Bengals have theirs.
Yeah,
And that's the
fair.
thing.
Yeah.
And but we threw this in late because it just happened a few hours before we came on. But Baker Mayfield has a new home.
Yeah.
In LA, I'm not sure how much it means, but I think we could talk a little bit about Baker, and say, do we think, and we'll relate it to Wilson, but do we think Mayfield rebounds? Do we think he's ever a starter again? I know he's going to start down the stretch here, but
Yeah, I
can
mean,
he
they're
play well
saying-
enough to get another chance next
saying
season?
he may start Thursday night, which is crazy,
That means that LA is phoning it in for the rest of the season.
or is desperate. I mean,
They're
so-
desperate. I mean,
Yeah.
he's better
They're-
than the guy they had play the other night.
Yeah.
I mean, the other day.
I think you bring Wofford back out there.
No.
Eh,
Mayfield's better than Wofford.
I don't know.
I don't
man.
know. You know what?
He is
Wofford
better
can
than
run
Wofford.
at least.
He's better than Wofford, guys. I mean, he had 2 seasons where he looked pretty good, so it's not.
They should trade for former Ohio State backup quarterback Braxton Berrios is who they should trade for.
He's a quarterback?
Yeah, he was a quarterback at Ohio State.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Braxton Berrios was not a quarterback at Ohio State.
Backup quarterback, Ohio State, right there. The onion never lies.
What an idiot. So, do we think that he could play well enough with his little opportunity here to make? Are people going to give him a shot? coming into next season, or
I
is
think
he just
Baker
career
is a
backup?
He's a career backup.
I don't think he has the makeup to do that.
So let me just put this out there, right? We're talking about him possibly rebounding with Cam Akers, a failed RB1, Ben Skowronek, Van
He's a good
Jefferson,
guy. Good guy.
Tyler Higbee. This guy, I mean, I don't want to say Baker's set up for failure because I think it's really underplaying how shitty Baker Mayfield really is.
Yeah, he played pretty bad.
But Baker Mayfield is not set up for success here. He was semi-set up for success in Carolina.
And in Cleveland.
And he was really set up for success in Cleveland.
He was successful in Cleveland.
He was somewhat successful.
They won a playoff game for the first time in how long?
Baker's issue is Baker will not play within a system. He will not be the man that he has to be successful in the
He's
NFL.
Zach Wilson minus banging
Yeah.
moms.
Not even Zach Wilson. He wants to be Brett Favre.
No,
but
Zach
he is
Wilson.
not Brett
Zach
Favre.
Wilson wants to play in the system. Zach Wilson's issue is his mechanics. He can't make the 5-yard throw because his mechanics are like a high school quarterback's.
Yeah, but I mean, he also doesn't want to take accountability like Baker.
Well,
Baker wants to blame
I heard
everybody else
some
too.
more
Yeah.
stories about that, but yes,
and
that's
that's
fair.
the thing. I think that they're both where they both
And Zach Wilson's
are
like 5 years
consistent.
younger than him.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they both are consistent is Cleveland begged Baker all 4 years to stay back and work with their coaches,
Yeah.
and he refused. He wanted to leave and go work with his coaches. And I'm hearing some of the same things about Zach Wilson.
Oh yeah.
And I think there's an issue. Like, you got to totally buy in. Lamar came into the league, and accuracy was an issue, but
Yeah.
he's worked hard. Josh Allen couldn't hit a broadside of a barn when he came into
Nope.
the league.
Yeah.
But he stayed with
Oh,
your
Dabo,
coach,
yeah.
Dabo, and they worked. He worked hard. And I think that's what it is. Wilson and Baker were handed stuff. They felt like they were better than what they were, and they got to the pros and they realized we're
I
not,
agree, yeah.
but they don't want to work toward it.
How they didn't learn from Johnny Manziel is beyond me, because that's what they're indicative of. They look like they came into the league with a chip on their shoulder, like Johnny Manziel did, thinking that he was the guy on college campus, and that would transition to the NFL. And then you realize that you're no longer around boys; you're around grown ass men that don't give a shit about how you looked on campus.
Baker is Russell Wilson who curses. I mean, can't you see him say
Russell, let's not diss
Listen.
Russ that bad. I mean,
No, but what I'm
Russell
saying
Wilson
is-
had a great career.
He did, but
for the
can't-
last year and a half.
But can't you see him say, Rams Nation, let's effing rock? Like, can't you see him saying that?
Yeah.
But he doesn't have any of the
But
skill
he'd
set.
believe it.
He doesn't have any of the
Wilson is putting on. It's a brand for Wilson. So but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and Wilson actually did it.
Yeah.
Baker will say it. He'll sell T-shirts,
Did he?
but he
No, he didn't.
Russell threw an interception on the goal line when he had Marshawn Lynch.
Well, he didn't call
but
the
he
play.
didn't call
Well,
the
maybe he
play.
should have. If he was a goddamn man, he would have been calling the plays.
Okay.
If he was a Manning, he'd have been calling the plays. But he wasn't.
That's
'Cause
fair.
He was Russell
I'll
Wilson.
take that.
I mean, if he
Well,
was,
he's not. I mean, but
he was
if
a Manning, not any Manning. You know,
oh, you mean the one that won 2 Super Bowls?
no, not that one.
Okay.
The other guy,
Yeah.
Peyton.
The other one that was a ride along for his second Super Bowl. Okay. Couldn't win a big game in the first 10 years of his career. Huh? Hey, you got it. All right, so we'll move on from Baker to his teammate, OBJ. And the OBJ sweepstakes are heating up. It feels like it's really down to 2 teams. I still think there's probably a dark horse out there. But every other day I'm hearing Cowboys, then I'm hearing Giants, hearing Cowboys. But one, where do we think he goes? Number 2, how much can he help?
I think the Giants are a loss away from him not going there, and I think the Cowboys are a win away from him going there.
Yeah.
And I think the dark horse team is still the Bills.
Yeah, I
I'm
could
just
agree with
gonna
that.
say You know, like I think that, and I tell you what, if that lost to the Bengals, it may have lit a fire under them to bring in one more talented receiver.
Another guy,
Yeah.
huh?
Which,
My question is he healthy? Because
So-
there's a lot of rumors that he's not.
that is the question. I read something today that, I think there is going to be a dark horse that emerges. Dallas is looking like they're pretty much going to be a shoo-in for the playoffs, right?
Oh, yeah, they're making the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they look good.
And they
I
look
mean,
Yeah.
really good, right? So they don't really need to break up that chemistry by buying into a guy that may not be healthy in 2022.
And do they need him?
Everything I'm reading is that Jerry Jones is ready to spend. He flat out said, I want this guy here.
Yes.
And then for him to kind of retract those words after a physical taken by OBJ
Yeah.
that showed that his ACL rehab progress isn't as far along as like he's been letting on everybody to believe.
Yeah.
Jerry's afraid that he's not going to be ready to play at all this year.
Here, so let me throw something back at you. Two things. Number one, I do think that. All right, so I do think if the Giants lose another game, I do think it definitely throws it into chaos a little bit.
Yeah.
But the rumblings are that people have talked to him that he wants to be with the Giants. His circle wants him to be with the Cowboys. But what I find interesting is that stuff about his knee. He met with the Giants Thursday and Friday last week, 2 days. Physicals, nothing came out about his physical, anything like that.
It's because their number one wide receiver is Darius Slayton.
Listen, they're not stupid. You seen with it. They didn't go spend money. They didn't sell their future for a wide receiver at the deadline.
They'll overlook it. Like,
Oh, well, what does that mean, though?
oh shit, does he have is that a click in his knee? Dude, Darius Slayton's your wide receiver one.
No.
What click? I didn't hear no click.
No, that's stupid. Okay, they could have traded for a wide receiver like Claypool. Gave away picks for that guy at the deadline. They could have. They didn't do that because they're not
Did he tear
stupid.
his ACL? Is that a for sure? Do we hear about Claypool?
What, Claypool? No, he didn't. Right? He's
he didn't.
okay.
He came back in the game.
Yeah, but anyway, my point was, I think it's interesting that Jerry Jones said that because I think it points to he's trying to get ahead of them not getting him. I think he's trying to throw a smokescreen out there so that if they don't sign him, he already told you why, or at least leaked out why they didn't sign him.
Maybe he doesn't really want him, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't think they need him.
I don't think they need him either.
Yeah, I think he messes up their chemistry.
Yeah, they have Gallup. They have.
Well, they got Schultz, who looks fantastic. They got
if
the
I'm
second
him,
tight end that looks good.
James Washington hasn't even played yet.
If
Noah Brown looks really good.
If I'm him, right? Why do I want to go to Dallas and be the fourth option? If I'm trying to get a
That's
contract,
probably what you are at
right?
this age.
I don't think so. He looked pretty damn good last year before he tore his
The
ACL.
third option, yes, he looked.
He was
really
the second
good
option in the passing game.
He really
He was
was
the third.
No,
the third option, man.
those in the playoffs, he was the second option.
Because Robert Woods was injured at that point.
Okay, well, what would he be on the Giants?
He'd be there.
Well,
The first
that's
option.
what I'm saying.
All right, so,
that was
well,
my
it's
point.
Probably
but
be the
that's my
quarterback.
point. All right, see, Mayfield,
He can throw.
Deshaun Watson. All right.
OBJ can throw.
My point being, if you're him, you want to get a contract next year, you want to go where you're going to get targeted. You're going to be the low man on the totem pole in Dallas. Now, the Bills I can see because they don't have, Gabe Davis is nice, but I think
Gabe Davis is who
Beckham
Gabe
could be
Davis
a playmaker in that offense too.
Yeah.
So they worry me. But if I'm him, I'm not going to Dallas. All it's going to be a shit show, and you're going to get 3 targets a game.
Yeah. If
That's
I'm
what it's gonna turn
him,
into.
I'm going. If I'm him, I'm going to KC.
If they want him,
Yeah.
are they going to keep how many guys that were good for you? How many guys are you going to bring in?
I mean, if he goes to
Darius
KC,
Tony's back on the.
Think
that's
about
so
it.
funny.
Think about him in KC. Is he immediately their number 2, number 1, maybe?
He's
receiver?
probably their number 1 receiver
Yeah.
if he's healthy. Yeah.
Kelsey's probably number 1.
Well,
and he's
yeah, so
probably
he'd be the
2.
number 2 option.
I
yeah.
mean, immediately, he's probably
Yeah.
getting 7 targets. a
yeah.
game.
So if they're in on him, then that's where I go for sure.
And I think that not only against the Bengals, but against the Rams, and I'm trying to remember the game that they played in between.
Mm-hmm.
They're a receiver short.
Yeah.
KC misses Tyreek more than they. I think they realize it,
Yeah,
but
they
more than I
realize
realize that they would.
Oh, he's an animal.
He's
that
an
guy.
animal, and they miss that. It's just like somebody today stupidly asked me, "Oh, does it hurt that Ohio State isn't going to get Jackson Smith in the?" Yeah, you idiot.
Yeah.
Last time Najigba was on the field, he had 95 receptions for 1,600 yards and
Yeah.
12 touchdowns. Yeah, it hurts that he's not playing for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Tyreek, and so to me, that's where he gets targeted the most.
Yeah, you're probably right.
What
yeah,
about-
because they pass the ball more.
So I don't think he's going to be healthy enough, and he's getting a little bit older now. Where I don't know that he can be your number 1 wide receiver. Right? It'll
He's
be
better as a
questionable.
number 2, yeah.
He's probably better as a number 2. What about Minnesota, man? Because Thielen's getting a little old. Throw Thielen in the slot. Who is
Thielen
an
looks
awesome-
good still.
He does, but imagine him as a possession slot receiver.
Yeah, imagine him.
Yeah.
as that.
Holy
Yeah.
shit!
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Put OBJ on the other
But they
side. of
just
Jay
went and
Jettis.
got Hawkinson. That I don't know how they fit that there.
They could be all in.
He
at
wants
that point.
he wants a little bit of money, but we'll take it from one guy, one team that's Hurting, missing a guy, and we'll go to another one. The 49ers, who lost Mr. Jimmy G, our guy.
Yeah, so what is the prognosis?
He's out for the year.
Here's the prognosis. When they were carting him off the field, it said Jimmy G questionable to return. That dude's foot was sideways. It was turned up sideways. I'm like,
and
"He's
it's
not
sad because I
returning."
think
Poor guy.
they were getting to a place where Shanahan and him were kind of clicking, and I thought they were the favorite. I thought they could beat. I mean, I thought the playoffs were going to run through them.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Brock looked pretty good.
He
That's
put up
fair.
21 fantasy points, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
Brock
he was-
looked good.
I mean, 89 QBR. He actually did better than Tua
Yeah.
in that game. Now, he wasn't facing the 49ers defense. But, yeah, I mean, you don't want to go into the latter part of this season and the playoffs with a rookie quarterback who was a 7th-round pick.
Well, there's two things. Usually
Dude,
when a guy
what about New England?
That's fair.
when a guy like Purdy comes off the bench, though, you got to keep in mind that defense.
No game
had
film.
no idea what he can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No idea what So you get a little bit of film on him to see how it looks next week. But I think the bigger picture. I mean, number one, yeah, their title chances have definitely taken a hit. But in the offseason, they're kind of at a crossroads. I mean, I thought they were going to be able to make a run with Jimmy. I think you make your peace with it and keep him as your quarterback. But now you're going to have Jimmy coming off a fractured whatever foot I think he has. You're going to have Trey Lance trying to come back. If Brock Purdy plays well and you win a game in the playoffs, then you have him sitting in your lap. And the reports in camp about Purdy is that they were saying he's the real deal. Like his processing time, that he was leaps and bounds ahead of Trey Lance.
And then you go out and you sign Baker Mayfield after the Rams waive him.
That
Now,
too.
I mean, look at this.
But seriously, what is like?
I was surprised.
Where did they
Baker-
go?
That they didn't sign Baker. To be honest with you,
Who,
That was-
them?
yeah, I thought they would be. That
Brock
they would
Purdy
be-
looked better than Baker has looked in like a year and a half.
I think CMC was like, "Don't you dare!" Honestly, like
You're
cause,
probably right.
yeah, no,
He was in that locker room with him. Yeah.
I watched Purdy, and I know Purdy in college was a heck of a quarterback.
Yeah.
and he did look phenomenal. Now, he's a rookie. And
Yeah, he's
gonna
going to
have
make
his-
rookie mistakes, but I think it's what he did out there is not. There's something there.
Well,
But what do you do, though? If you're the 49ers and he plays well, what do you do? Who do you go with?
you
Who do you
keep
put
playing.
your.
You keep
No, I mean,
playing.
you have to. They're out for the rest of the year. I'm saying going into next season.
So, I think I'm already out on Trey Lance. I don't think Trey Lance is an NFL-ready quarterback.
No, and now with the injury,
And
you're
now
looking at he's not going to be ready to like his fifth year probably.
Exactly. So I don't think that San Fran has to commit anything to Trey Lance. You were already on the fence with Jimmy.
Yeah.
And Jimmy went out and did what Jimmy does, and that's manage games and win games, win close games. Because Jimmy doesn't make stupid mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Jimmy does what New York was asking Zach Wilson to do, but Zach Wilson couldn't do it.
Exactly,
Right?
yeah.
So that's how Jimmy plays.
Yeah. That's a good equivalent.
So if Jimmy's not who you're like married to in that situation, shit, man. If they're saying Brock Purdy's the real deal, why not?
Yeah.
Why not roll with him? Especially if they make a deep playoff run.
I
It-
think
it's
even
like
if
a-
they get out the first round with a rookie quarterback thrown into the, if he finishes well, yeah, I can see that happening because
mean,
you're on
who
the
else?
fence.
It's like a Taylor Heineke situation.
Who looks great, like in the NFC? Who looks great? We got Philadelphia. We've got Dallas.
Dallas.
Minnesota.
Minnesota, I
Minnesota,
think, is
yeah.
a fluke, though. I mean, I picked them to win that division. They will.
I keep saying it, but they're 10-2, man.
Yeah, but the two teams that we just said were better than them before them blew them out.
Yeah, blew them out.
So that's an issue.
And I still think, I gotta say, Jalen Hurts, he showed it.
He showed me something this
he
week.
showed it.
Yeah, I'll give him respect there.
Yeah,
He threw the
showed
ball
it.
around.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
dude, he severely underthrew Devonta Smith. He's lucky Devonta got
It
him to the end
happens.
zone.
It happens.
Yeah. No, he still doesn't.
I'm just saying. I think there's still. What's scary is that there's still room for improvement there.
Yes.
He's playing as well
Wow.
as he is, and he can still make strides to be better.
Yeah, he'd be better.
And there you go. You talk about a Baker or a Wilson compared to a Hurts who gets in there and works his ass off. And, there you see the fruits. This is a guy you want to believe in, and this is a guy that you see the progress, and you get behind a guy like that every time.
Maybe Baker just needs a dangly cross earring, and maybe Baker
There
starts
you go.
playing well too.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We're
Nose
gonna
ring.
be able to put our money where our mouth is here. We're gonna get into our NFL pod picks this week, and We'll see if anybody put their money on Mr. Purdy.
Do we have to bark, or do we add a bark to the?
I'll add a bark this week, okay? Just for you, baby.
We're not barking. God damn
Yeah,
it.
I think we should bark, but we'll see how it sounds with the fabricated bark.
You know what you're going to get from me. So.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so
A little
recap:
whimper.
Rocky's at 41, me and Zach are at 40,
Yep.
and you're at 29.
I'm
Correct?
29.
27.
29.
29. Okay. So you're firmly in last place, but another week for you to try to make up some ground, right?
I keep putting 6s on the board. It'll be no time, ladies.
All right. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to give Zach's pick. I'm going to give you the funny voice. All right. But let's not go on for 17 hours. Okay.
That's when it's the funniest.
I don't know why you asked Mark to do it and ask him to not go on for.
Because he has it. Do you want it? Do you want to do it?
No,
Okay.
No, because I want, but I'm saying like you give it to him, but then you say don't do what you think Mark is going to do.
Don't do what
No,
makes
no,
us
no. I
money.
want him to do it. I want him to do it.
He's
But I
actually
want him
gonna
to
be
be conscious.
He actually wants me to go on for 19 minutes. When he says shit
No,
like
no,
that,
no,
he
no.
knows like
No,
he's
don't.
trying to he's baiting me. Is what
All right.
he's
So
doing.
give us young Zach's picks.
Hey guys, Zach here. Sorry I couldn't make. You okay, Phil?
Yeah, I got it. I
You
got
sure?
it. Yeah, go.
There's a lot of noise over there. So anyway, sorry I couldn't be with you guys tonight. I had some dinner function with my girlfriend. Ooh, that's right. I can't wait. I'm enjoying my quinoa salad with my wheatgrass smoothie. So sorry I couldn't be there, boys. But this was worth it. So I'm gonna follow my my awesome dinner here with some shitty picks. Let's go Kansas City -9. I don't even know who they're playing, because frankly I don't give a shit. This wheatgrass smoothie is that good. Woo! Alright, who they playing? I can't remember. Somebody help me. Cincinnati! No. Holy shit! I took Kansas City -9 against. That's not right. That's last week. God damn it!
Mark, what they're playing the Broncos.
Why do I always do this? I'm so embarrassed. This will be my embarrassing story when I go 0-6 this week. All right, Kansas City -9 against Denver. Let's ride. Next up, I did take Brock Purdy. Because of his last name. Hey, I'm going to take them at home -3.5 against Tampa Bay. And that old Tom Brady. Go get some more Botox, bitch. Finally, here's my dog. My dog are them Los Angeles Chargers. +3.5 at home against them Dolphins. Tua's hip don't look that good. I don't think he can really work it. This wheatgrass smoothie's getting to me, guys. Off to you, Phil.
So ridiculous. You're so good at that.
It's a shade under 12 minutes. So.
Yeah, we tightened it up. All right, Rocky. Let me hear your picks, man.
All right, so I'm going to go with my first pick, and I am going to go with the Bengals -6 versus the Browns.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I don't have your Cincinnati -6.
I want to pick my Browns. I desperately do, but my God, Deshaun looked like he had never played the sport of football.
He did look bad.
This is, I fear, is going to be a several game preseason for him. So I picked the Bengals here.
That's a fair analysis.
My second game is going to be the Chiefs -9 versus the Broncos. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
I think the Broncos, that poor defense,
Mr.
poor
Gozaba.
defense, held the Ravens to 10 points and lose. That defense has got to hate
Yeah,
Russell Wilson's guts.
And Tyler Huntley too. I mean, that's like a double
Yeah.
kick in the ass.
My dog for this week,
Now you're barking?
Now you're gonna bark for yourself.
I'm saying, but
Told us
What
not to
the
bark.
hell was that?
my dog is going to be the Jets +9.5 versus the Bills.
Oh,
I
you're
think
just
it's-
taking my picks, basically.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's looking pretty true.
The Jets, I think that Mike White, I like what he's got going on. I think the Bills are good, but I think So are the Jets. I think they have one of the best defenses in the AFC. And then my lock for this week is the Titans.
We're not doing locks yet.
Oh,
Holy shit! How many weeks you been on this?
And you definitely took all my
podcast?
picks. All
Did I
right. So,
really? Did I
Mark,
really?
go ahead, Mark. Let's
Did
get
I
yours.
really?
Yeah.
All right. You know what?
wait, maybe I should change one.
No, it's too late now.
Here we go. I'm not going Brock Purdy. I love San Francisco. I love their prospects going into the playoffs. I think not having Jimmy G hurts them a little bit. Brock Purdy takes a step back, I think, against this Tampa defense, who looked pretty decent against New Orleans last night. And I do think Brady's out for blood. I think this is his swan song, and I think he wants to lead this team into the playoffs and really give them some hope. So I'm taking Tampa Bay plus 3.5.
Okay.
All right. Next, I'm going with them Raiders from Vegas. So we're the best 2-win team, the best 3-win team, the best 4-win team, and I think they're up to 5 wins now.
Yeah.
I'm going to call them the best 5-win team in football.
Can the Raiders make a run?
I think the Raiders are making a run. Let's hope that leads them into the playoffs. They got them shitbag Rams and newly acquired Baker Mayfield on Thursday night, -6.
That's going to be rough.
Give me them Raiders.
It's a good pick.
All right. For my dog, I know that I picked Detroit to win this division. Half serious, but half joking.
Hopeful.
I was hopeful, but I mean, they're playing great football.
Yes.
Right? But the fact that they're giving 2 points,
They're home.
I don't give a shit. Minnesota's 10-2.
Yeah, but
Minnesota's got a stranglehold on this division.
I think people see that they're a little.
I mean, unless there's reports out that Minnesota's just going to try to coast because their division is shit right now, and they're going to rest a lot of people and they're not going to get as many offensive snaps, maybe. But I'm not going to take that chance, man. Minnesota +2, I'm taking them.
Okay. All right, I'll get into my picks then, boys. So let's start with the one that Rocky took first, which is the Bengals -6 at the Browns. At home to the Browns. And like we noted earlier, Deshaun Watson looked terrible.
Garbage.
And I think it's time for the Bengals to get over that hump. They're coming off a big win. I think they're feeling like they felt late in the year last year. They got to take care of business and really try to solidify some higher seeding, I think, for the later rounds in the playoffs. Then my second pick is where I'm going to differ from you, Rocky. I was going to pick something else, but I'm going to stick with this. I'm going with the Steelers -2.5 at home to the Ravens. You got Huntley coming in. That offense looked terrible last week. They're coming. They got to play the Steelers and Mike Tomlin on the road. I think they're going to put the clamps on them, and I think they will beat them by a field goal.
Rocky already knows that's what his lock is going to be.
Okay. And then my dog of the week is also the Jets +9.5. It's at 9.5 now. +9.5 at Buffalo. The Bills looked good last week. They have looked shaky here and there, and they have lost to this team when they weren't playing as well as they are right now. I don't know that the Jets could go up there and beat them, but I think they could keep it within 10 points. 9 points pretty easily. So I'm taking the Jets there. And I think now it's time to get
to our immortal locks of the week. Mark, please give me your lock. All right, so I'm going to go out on a limb here a little bit. This team looks amazing, but they did just lose their leading rusher. So they're on their third string running back. But you know what? They're at home and they're playing Carolina, so I really don't think it matters. I'm taking them Seahawks -4.5. Okay, Rocky, what's your lock?
I'm going to deviate because I don't want to be said that I am taking your pick, so I also am picking the Seahawks -4.5 versus those Carolina Panthers.
Okay, and my lock is going to be your lock that you first had, which was the Titans -4 at home to the Jags. I don't understand how this spread is only 4 points. I'm taking it all day. The Jaguars have nothing to play for, and the Titans have everything to play for. I think that they're going to mop the floor with them coming off an embarrassing loss to the Eagles. All day, locking the Titans.
All right. We gave Zach's lock already too, right?
No, we didn't give his lock yet.
Okay, yeah, give us lock.
Hey guys, I'm back. Oh my god, I'm on my second wheatgrass smoothie. oh god, they're really getting to me. Holy shit. Samara, can you drive? Anyway, I'm gonna take What is this? I can't remember already. Cincinnati. I think they're at home. They're some kind of cat, right? They're like orange and stripes or some shit.
I do. Oh, fuck.
Samara, are you okay? Were you sneaking my wheatgrass? I thought, bartender, I want another. She has some mine. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I'll take those roaring cats against that shit team again from that shit city. And how come it is I always go against Cleveland? Is it my grudge against Rocky, or is it that Cleveland really is a shit city? I don't know. But guess what? Deshaun Watson is winning, so I'll take Cincinnati.
So stupid.
Hey, you know what I think we should do to end this? Right? Like you mentioned, I think don't give the picks anymore. When we get here, we could give him our picks,
Yeah.
and whatever you give him is locked in.
Yeah.
That'd be a more fair way to do it.
Only if Mark, like, I mean.
No,
I
I'm
don't
saying-
No, we're
understand
not
either.
doing it. We're not doing
Well, now we're doing it.
So the only reason why we're doing it on the phone was so that I had record when I went to
Yeah.
put them in on chalkboard.
So what we're saying is that we get here.
But he sees all our.
Because
No, he could
I
have
don't.
his written down.
No, I
we can
already
see
have
it.
mine. I already
We
have
all
mine.
have to have them written down and give them to him, and then we can't change them.
Dude, I am behind by 11
Yeah, that's
points.
what I
and
was
you're
saying. You
worried.
suck. So.
I changed mine like 8 times.
Yeah, I was gonna change mine too, but then I said I don't want to stick to my guns.
I
after
was
seeing-
shocked that I had an 8 years, to be honest with you.
All right, that is loud, huh? Yeah,
That is
that's
loud.
the vroom vrooms outside. All right, so guys, that's the show. I feel like we didn't really miss Zach. I'm not just putting that out there. Thank you for watching. Please come back next week. Find us on our socials: TikTok, Facebook, YouTube and TikTok foremost. Also Instagram and Twitter. Guys on is it guy? No, it's Guys on Network.
Yeah,
Right?
guys on network.
Or GON Podcast. GON Podcast.
GON Podcast.
GON,
There
I'm
you
going to
go.
put it on the screen because I'm stupid. GON Podcast. Please find us there. And go to the link in our bio. Go to Chalkboard. We're giving out fantasy advice. We're going to have advice on picks,
That's how we
cheat
make
sheets.
money.
And, you put a little bit of green in your boys' pockets.
224 members.
224. We're growing. We're growing slow, but we're growing.
Growers, not showers.
Yeah, and find us on TikTok. Sunday mornings, 9:30, 10:45. Help you with your lineup, especially with the playoffs coming up. Hopefully we don't steer you wrong, but we're going to give you the best advice we got.
I think we steer you right more than we steer you wrong.
That's fair. I think so.
Yeah,
But I'm trying to be humble.
Slogan.
I think we're 65% correct because I look back at
a
our
good number,
picks, and I
yeah.
think we were 65%
We
correct.
we do pretty well on there, and I'm loving the fan engagement too. I think we're getting like a really good response on there. It's a lot of fun interacting with our people. We get some good feedback from some of them, going back and forth. And what's amazing to me now too is that our fans kind of feel like they're getting to know us a little bit, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
they're,
fair.
They're joking around with us a little bit. They're kind of giving it to us.
Calling us out a little bit.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I enjoy it.
Yeah, Chalkboard. Find us there. We love you.